This is Columbus Concerns, a public affairs presentation of North American Broadcasting. Here's your host, Mark News.
Good morning, and thanks so much for joining us today on Columbus Concerns. The Wall That Heals, a three-quarter scale replica of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C., is coming to Delaware County this September, and they're pretty excited about it there. Brian Gallagher has been on the program with us before. He's the director of Delaware County Veteran Services. Also with us is David Hyatt. He is one of the Veteran Services Commissioners for Delaware County. And gentlemen, thanks so much for coming in today.
Thank you. Very.
Brian, it's good to see you again. Thanks for coming back. And tell us a little bit about when the Wall That Heals is going to be in Delaware County.
So officially, the Wall That Heals will be there September 12th through the 15th. And it's the 15th at 2 p.m. is whenever it gets torn down. It's open 24 hours during that time. It actually arrives via a procession on Tuesday the 10th, and then we assemble it on the 11th. And
David, I understand that you're one of the escorts who are going to be bringing it in.
That's right. We've got the practice that's followed with the wall is that there's a traditional escort made up typically of a lot of veterans, motorcycles. It makes a big announcement when the event arrives in town.
That's fantastic. David, talk a little bit about the Veteran Services Commission, and you guys are sort of, I guess, the hosts of the wall this time.
Yeah, that's correct. We spent roughly 2 years preparing to get this brought in, dealing with the national organization, arranging a site, getting the logistics together. A lot of organization went into this. So, we're funding it. In some ways, you might say we're sponsoring it in some ways, but the real meaning of it is to bring it in for the community, for the veterans, and a big focus on education of school children as well.
Brian, tell us a little bit about where the wall is going to be located and where folks can come out and see it.
So it's going to be located in Havener Park. So this is a park that is, one side of it's called Havener, and the other side of it is Deer Haven. It's approximately, close to halfway between Delaware and Powell. So if you were to take Delaware and Powell and put them on a map and draw a line between the two and go about the halfway point, that's about where, the park is. It's located off Liberty Road, and the intersection nearby is Ford Road. It's in a convenient place. There's parking that's there, but it's out in the country, at least as much as you can get in, southern Delaware County. And the reason for that is to have a somewhat serene location for the veterans that need to see it and have, not trucks going by on 23 or 315. And so that way they have a chance to reflect, and there's some peace and serenity, especially at night.
And like you mentioned, it's open 24 hours.
Correct. And, so if there's veterans or people that have lost family members, either through the conflict or, afterwards, it's open 24 hours. So that way, if they want peace and a lot of people around to reflect, they can come at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. And, there'll be staff that'll be there. So it'll be volunteers that will be there 24/7. And, if somebody wants to volunteer, they can go to our website. That's www.thewallthathealsohio.com, and there's a place where they can go in and volunteer to, maybe take the midnight to 4 a.m. shift.
Mm-hmm. And Dave, I know this isn't the first time that the Wall That Heals has been here in Central Ohio, at least a couple other times that we know of right off the top of our heads. What does it mean to the veterans to be able to go and see this?
To many of them, it brings reflection to a time past, to the memory of friends and family that were lost during the conflict. And afterwards, there's a focus on that as well. But the education is the other thing. I mean, everybody is very interested in pushing this information as a meaningful learning experience to a great many school students. We are expecting quite a turnout of schools. One of our committee members has spent a tremendous amount of time working with the superintendents, stumping for this, and they've succeeded in securing a lot. We'll probably be busy the first couple of days handling students. We've done a lot of logistics at planning the bus routes in and out and the handling of students in a safe manner. So.
That's terrific. And I understand that in addition to the actual physical wall, there's also sort of a traveling museum along with it that would be great for the kids.
Yeah, they refer to that as their education center. That's set up, and that's part of what a tour would include as well. And it gives them an overview of the Vietnam War. There's also the local names of the local people and their photos that they can view. And that helps to bring this whole thing into a more meaningful experience for people. Once you can put a face and a name to something, it's not just, an engraving on the wall. It's now somebody that you can actually put some connection to and maybe even have a local connection to as well in some cases.
I know that if you've ever been to the wall in Washington, D.C., it's a very emotional place. It's a very sort of a quiet, reverent place. But you see people all the time sort of tracing the names of someone they know or a family member off the wall. Can they do that
Yes.
here too?
We'll actually have pencils there for people if they want to do that.
And talk a little bit about, you said volunteers. What will the volunteers be doing there?
So a multitude of things, and really depends on what their skill set is and their physical capability. So, for example, we'll have people that will be out near the wall, that if somebody's looking for a name or has questions, they'll be able to answer those. So there'll be a training session with the wall staff for the volunteers prior to. There's a tent to where it's a greeting area to let them know what all's going on. We'll need help during the times that things are busy as far as with the school students or during a couple of the ceremonies that we're going to have to help with traffic and directing people. So, a multitude of different needs for volunteers.
We're talking about the Wall That Heals, a 3/4 scale replica of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington. It's coming to Delaware County this September. It's going to be there Thursday the 12th through 2 p.m. on the 15th. It's going to be open 24 hours a day there. It's going to be at Havener Park, which is at 4085 Liberty Road in Delaware. And the hosts, the Delaware County Veteran Services Commission, their director, Brian Gallagher, is with us, along with one of the commissioners, David Hyatt. And David, when I was just a kid during the Vietnam War, and I remember those young men who went over there. I'm not a young man anymore, and they're certainly not getting any younger. We're starting to lose some of our Vietnam veterans. So I think it's important for people to remember what they did and their sacrifices, and I'm sure it's important for them to get the recognition as well.
Yeah, it's certainly something that hasn't faded over time. You mentioned the age. Yes, we're now, I think, roughly 2 generations removed from the Vietnam War, so it could be something that fades into history, but there's still enough of us around, I guess, to remember those times. In addition to the losses directly from Vietnam through the combat casualties and such, we still have a lot of casualties following the conflict, even to this day. And I personally know people that have been victims of the Agent Orange contamination and diseases as a result of that. So, and one of the things at the wall we will be doing on Saturday evening is a ceremony to candlelight vigil, call it, for the Agent Orange victims. One of our combat vets that's working with us on the committee put it very well. You've got 58,281 names on this wall. Those were the ones that were killed in Vietnam because of the casualties of war. We also could probably put about another 6 walls up for the casualties that were from Agent Orange.
Mm-hmm. And with that vigil, the one thing that will be neat is, they'll turn the wall orange for Agent Orange. So there's actually, they can't do that with the wall in D.C., but with the wall that's coming here, that will be part of the candlelight vigil, is actually turning the wall orange, and it'll be for an in memoriam program that the wall runs for people that have passed away. They made it back, but then something happened to where, either through Agent Orange, PTSD, a multitude of different things, to where they passed away because of their service during the Vietnam War.
Brian, last time you were here, we couldn't really talk about the wall coming. It was just
Yes.
in the planning stages, and nothing was official yet. But there's been a lot of hard work going into getting this to come here, hasn't there?
Yes, and it's, you mentioned, Delaware County being the host, but what we've tried to do is not make this a Delaware County event. Really, we've tried to include all the surrounding communities. So, for example, the escort that Dave's putting together is starting in Marysville, and we've reached out to all the surrounding counties. That's why if you look at the website, it doesn't say Delaware County in it. We're the only stop in Ohio this year, so it's the Wall That Heals Ohio.com. So we're trying not to make this a Delaware County thing. We're trying to make this a Central Ohio event for veterans.
Talk a little bit about the escort. Do you have any ideas yet what time it's going to start and how people can maybe even see it?
Yes, as Brian indicated, we'll be kicking off from Marysville. We've got the cooperation of the Rural King supply store in Marysville on North Main Street. We'll be kicking off there, leaving at 1 o'clock on Tuesday the 10th. We've got quite a lot turnout we're expecting, so we're going to put on a lunch for them and get everybody organized. And we've coordinated with the Highway Patrol for escorts. We've got all the jurisdictions that we've had to work with, the Marysville, Delaware County, Union County, city police. The fire departments are all anxious to turn out, display their flags, which is kind of a moving experience. Having been on a few of these runs before, you're riding in a big group, and then you suddenly see this huge American flag coming at you with people saluting you. It's inspiring and it's moving for the riders themselves. So we'll hope for good weather that day, and if it's good weather, I know we'll have a huge turnout. But even if it's not, we've got people that are dedicated doing this, and they go out of their way to travel many miles to participate in these escorts.
Yeah, I imagine, as you mentioned, Brian, being the only stop in Ohio this year, that's you're probably going to get quite a turnout. Do you have any ideas how many people you're going to get?
I know that what the wall has said in the past is that they've had anywhere from a couple hundred people to, I think that they said the most was around 16,000, and over a couple of day period. And what's surprising is the one that was just a couple hundred was New York City, and the one that was a couple of thousand was in Idaho.
Yeah.
So for us, we're not looking to break records or to have it be something for people to see as like entertainment. Our biggest thing is if we can have a couple of veterans that need to experience it to have some healing, the wall that heals. To me, that'll be the mission accomplished. Now, as far as what David said earlier about the education part of it, that'll be a big key as well for people that haven't been out to D.C. to see the wall, to experience it, and to learn. That'll be a key point as well. I think we'll have a large turnout, but putting the turnout isn't the goal. So we could have had this along US 23. In which case then people traversing 23 would have seen it, could have pulled off, and that would have been there. But whenever we had the initial discussions with the wall staff as far as where to put this, they're like, that's probably not the place you want to go because it needs to be in a much more serene location. You're not looking to try and, fill the parking lot. You're looking to try and accomplish the mission, which is to have, a serene, healing location for the veterans that need it, and then also the education part for the people that don't know as much about the Vietnam War as maybe they should.
I guess that's why they call it the wall that heals instead of just, the traveling wall or whatever.
Correct.
Yeah. With us on the program today from Delaware County Veteran Services, the director, Brian Gallagher, and one of the commissioners, David Hyatt. We've been talking about the wall that heals, the replica of the Vietnam Veteran Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C., that will be in Delaware County's Havner Park. And that's going to be there on Thursday the 12th through Sunday the 15th. It's open 24 hours a day until 2 p.m. on Sunday the 15th. Brian, for those who aren't familiar with Delaware County Veteran Services, I know every county has a Veteran Services Commission. Talk about what your charge is.
So really, it's a couple things. We're the local point of contact for veterans in the state of Ohio. So every county, there's 88 Veteran Service Commissions in the state of Ohio, and Ohio is fortunate to have this set up. Not every state has, county offices. It's either state-run or there's no veterans, commission statewide or local, and it's done by the VA then. So Ohio's lucky in that there's a local point of contact, and what's nice about that is that somebody can come in, and rather than dealing with phone tree or something like that, can come in, talk to us, get stuff set up, and then we'll help them with VA claims. So if they were hurt while they're in the service, so for example, burn pit is a lot of what you hear about lately. Mm-hmm. So if somebody experienced that, we can help them with getting that claim. We can help them getting into VA healthcare, which, Columbus has a great VA healthcare program. The facility on James Road does an outstanding job. Years ago, you used to hear about how bad it was. They've really turned the page on that. They run an outstanding program. And there's local resources as well. We run a financial assistance program. So veterans that are in need to where maybe they can't, make ends meet, we can help them make ends meet. And then we also run a transportation program to where veterans that can't make it to these appointments and maybe wouldn't get the health care they need if they weren't able to make it, we're able to make that happen. So we will transport veterans of Delaware County to their medical appointments, and every county has this. And then there's other programs that we run that are, in every county kind of has its own flavor on how they do certain things. So for example, we have a dental program that we help veterans out with. We do these kind of events. We'll do outreach to different places. Just a multitude of things to where if somebody needs something and they live in Delaware County, reach out to us. Somebody lives, that's listening to this that lives in Morrow County, reach out to the Morrow County Veteran Service Commission or the Marion County Veteran Service Commission, Franklin County Veteran Service Commission. They all do an outstanding job, and we all basically do the same thing.
David, talk a little bit about the commission and, America's had a lot of war over the last 30 years. The wars in the Middle East, Iraq and Afghanistan, and talk a little bit about the newer veterans. I guess we could call them new, although it's been 30 years now of war. Talk a little bit about are they coming in now? Are they availing themselves of your help?
Yeah, we get veterans from all eras. We've got veterans that were served in the 50s all the way up through the most recent conflicts with Afghanistan and current. Some are currently serving. As Brian said, any of the programs for assistance, they may come in, they may find, we've been getting by paycheck to paycheck, but the car broke down. We need some help, Mm-hmm. They'll make their case. The commission will consider the case and provide perhaps pay the bill for the car repair to get them over the hump. They've got medical bills. We help them with the VA claims, VA medical assistance. The overall involvement, we meet twice a month, consider these issues and claims that come up. We also do a lot of forward planning. The commission itself was initially chartered in 1886, and it's been in the Ohio Revised Code ever since. So we're guided by that. We're operating under ORC 5901, and that's our charter, if you will.
Mm-hmm. And I know, Brian, the Delaware County Services Commission, Veteran Services Commission, would maybe do a lot of different things than maybe a Franklin County wouldn't, because Franklin County has CODA and lots of bus service, and you probably have some more rural areas where people need more transportation help.
Right, and it's different from place to place. So, for example, Buck, that's the director in Franklin County. They do an outstanding job. They're fortunate that there's a robust transportation system. Delaware County has a transportation system. It's well on its way, but we have drivers and vehicles to where we go pick up veterans and take them to the location. So each county is a little different as far as on how they do things, based off the resources that are there and the need that's there.
And Dave, I know that when someone comes in and talks to you guys, they're mostly talking to veterans, right? Most of your employees are also veterans?
That's a requirement on the commission for sure, and it's a priority in the hiring of people within the office itself. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's in the charter as well.
They understand the same language when they
Correct.
talk to each other.
all been experienced in some fashion, yeah.
Actually, everybody that works at the office is a veteran.
Yeah. Our guests on the program today are from the Delaware County Veteran Services Commission. That's Brian Gallagher, the director, and David Hyatt, who is one of the commissioners. Let's get back to the wall. Again, the Wall That Heals is coming to Delaware County. It's actually the only stop in the state of Ohio. It'll be there on the 12th through the 15th of September. We talked about volunteers and what they might be doing. Do you still need anybody?
Yes. So if you go on to the website, the www.thewallthathealsohio.com, there's a thing to click on for volunteers, and then there's a sign up page, and that'll show the openings that we have. Majority of the stuff that we have the need for, or later at night and in the morning. So if you're a night owl or a real early morning person, we'd love to have you out there. Mm-hmm. There's openings during the day as well. But yeah, there is still a need for volunteers to sign up and come help out.
And David, there's no charge for this?
That's correct. There's no charge. It's not an event where people can come out and buy a snow cone or anything like that. There's not going to be food available on the site for people. It's strictly an event that is intended for a somber reflection, a memorial to those that we've lost.
And I imagine there's sort of a decorum too when you're there, a sort of a quieter way of doing things.
Right. Whenever we initially put in for this and we were awarded it, and we had the discussions with the staff from the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund, was that the saying was, if it doesn't happen at the wall in D.C., it doesn't happen here. Mm-hmm. So, they didn't want, and completely agree with them, to have people out there, saying, hey, this or that, very, outlandish ceremonies, people parasailing and skydiving, anything like that, they didn't want. Mm-hmm. So it is a very, I don't want to say somber, but, a serene setting. Mm-hmm. And, there will be a certain decorum, but that's not to say that kids shouldn't be there and, learn and understand. We don't want this to be, dead silent to where somebody would be fearful of bringing children along. Mm-hmm. I think that there will be a sereneness to it.
Dave, is there still time, if somebody's hearing this, is there still time for, let's say a teacher's hearing this and they're thinking, man, I would love to get my kids there. Is there still time for them to arrange that?
I don't think we would turn down any request at this point because of what we're hoping to accomplish. But yes, contact through the website. You can get contact information there. Let us know, and we'll put you in touch with somebody that can help schedule that to happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, Brian, unfortunately, it's almost time to wrap up the program. So why don't you just give us an overview again, when and where the Wall That Heals is going to be available to viewers here in Central Ohio?
So it's from September 12th through September 15th. It's open 24 hours during that time until Sunday at 2 p.m. And it's at Havener Park, which is off of Liberty Road. And again, it's between the city of Delaware and the city of Powell, about halfway between those two locations.
And again, Dave, could you tell us when people can see the procession, the escort as it comes in?
We'll be leaving Marysville about 1 o'clock on Tuesday the 10th, and hopefully arriving at Havener Park somewhere between 2 and 2:30 that afternoon. If anybody's interested in volunteering, please go to the website. If you want more information about the escort, there's information on the website as well. Motorcycle riders, we've tried to reach out to all the groups that we can initially contact. The word spreads around that community. We've also got a lot of Jeep enthusiasts that are going to join us as well, so it's going to be quite a procession.
Well, good luck, and I hope you get a nice turnout. I hope the weather's good for you, and thanks so much for all that you do for the veterans and for bringing this to Central Ohio.
All right, Mark, thank you.
Thank you.
Our guests on the program today have been Brian Gallagher and David Hyatt from Delaware County Veterans Services. I'm Mark News. Thanks so much for joining us, and we hope to see you again next week for another edition of Columbus Concerns.
Thanks for listening to Columbus Concerns, a public affairs presentation of North American Broadcasting. You can send questions or comments about today's show to Columbus Concerns in care of this station, 1458 Dublin Road, Columbus 43215. Or email us at columbusconcerns@napcomedia.com.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff, even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Shortness of breath, patient's confused, temp 102.
He just had an infection. What's going on?
He's becoming septic.
Antibiotics started. Bed ready, let's move him.
Infections can lead to a deadly chain reaction in your body called sepsis. Very quickly, sepsis can cause tissue damage, organ failure, and even death. If you know the risks, can spot the symptoms, and act fast, then you can get ahead of sepsis. Learn more at cdc.gov/sepsis.
Has your child swallowed your medicine, your laundry detergent, your nail polish remover? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you inhaled paint thinner, glue, pesticides? Call the Poison Helpline. Have a question about a dose, a fume, something your kid just drank? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
I'm Tiffany Haddish.
And I'm Marlon Wayans. African Americans are 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer than any other racial or ethnic group.
When you or someone you love is facing a pancreatic cancer diagnosis, access to cutting-edge treatment can help make long-term survival possible and improve future patient outcomes.
That's why Stand Up to Cancer and the Lust Garden Foundation have teamed up to bring over 30 pancreatic cancer clinical trials to those who need them.
Learning all you can about pancreatic cancer, including treatment options and what clinical trials are available, can give you or a loved one even more than hope. It can help make long-term survival possible.
For more information about the latest pancreatic cancer research and clinical trials near you, visit pancreaticcancercollective.org.